Hey, this is Pastor Doug, and I'm giving today's daily Bible reading devotional. And today I'm going to be talking about rules. Now, rules are kind of a mixed bag. Rules are designed to protect us, and good rules help us actually to live better lives. But rules can also get weird. They can even become bad when those rules are designed to keep you from breaking another rule. For instance, suppose you're a young kid and you're hanging out with this other kid who lives a couple blocks away, and he or she constantly is getting you into trouble. Well, a good parent would give you a rule. They would say, I don't want you to hang around with this kid for a while because this person's a bad influence on you. And that's a good rule. But suppose the parent were to go on and say, and I don't want you to cross the street because you might visit this person. And I don't want you to use your phone because you might text or you might call this person up. And I'm going to put a lock on your door and a bolt on your window so you don't climb out in the middle of the night to sneak around to see this person. A little bit of overkill, don't you think? But that's precisely what the religious leaders were doing during the time of Jesus. They were adding rules to keep people from breaking another rule. So let's look at the passage together. Luke chapter 14, starting in verse 1. And this is what it says. One Sabbath, when Jesus went to eat in the house of a prominent Pharisee, he was being carefully watched. And there in front of him was a man suffering from abnormal swelling of his body. So Jesus asked the Pharisees and the experts in the law, is it lawful to heal on the Sabbath or not? But they remained silent. So taking hold of the man, he healed him and sent him on his way. At the very center of this passage is the topic of the Sabbath. And so let me give you a little background. The Sabbath first appears in the book of Genesis when God created everything. And he gave the Sabbath as a gift to the man and the woman. And he was saying to them, you can work 6 days, but I want you to take a day off. I want you to get a day of rest so you can be restored, so that you can be recalibrated on me. And you don't have to worry, you don't have to stress, because I am going to provide for you. You see, the purpose of the Sabbath was life-giving. The purpose of the Sabbath was to celebrate the goodness of God. But over time, the religious leaders of Israel wanted to control people in keeping the Sabbath. So they created rule after rule after rule after rule after rule, telling people what they could and could not do on the Sabbath. Mostly what they could not do. In fact, in this very large book of Jewish tradition called the Talmud, there are 39 different categories of things that people could not do on the Sabbath. So eventually the Sabbath was no longer life-giving, but became life-burdening to people. In fact, these religious rules even prevented people from doing good to help other people, including healing them on the Sabbath. And that's what made Jesus mad. You see, we find this person here with abnormal swelling, what we call today an edema. And that person could not do the same amount of work as a healthy person. So he would never have enough to make a living during the 6 days that were allowed to work. Also, with that disability, this person would never be able to enjoy the wonderful life-giving benefits of a Sabbath. So healing a person on the Sabbath would be what God would want to see happen. But the religious rules forbade it. But you know what? Jesus did it anyway. He couldn't help it. He wasn't going to let some stupid religious rules become a barrier between him and bringing goodness into another person's life. Jesus gets mad when people put religious barriers that keep others from knowing him. Now, unfortunately, this type of thing is still going on today, and we see it a lot in churches. There are a lot of churches who make up all these rules and expectations that give theological justification to their racism, to their sexism, to their class prejudice, to their hate, to ignoring matters of injustice. And you know, it's not just out there. Sometimes it's a lot closer to home. I remember a while back that some people actually left CBC because our recovery ministries were attracting the wrong type of people. You know, people who are recovering drug addicts or recovering alcoholics. people who actually smoke cigarettes, you know? And I remember having a conversation with a man not too long ago that he left CBC because we had Friday night church and people started coming to church wearing shorts and t-shirts. He was appalled that we would let people in who were inappropriately dressed. Now, these were well-meaning people, and they were probably totally unaware that their religious expectations got in the way of the mission of Jesus. You see, the church does not exist to create this safe, comfortable, spiritual country club. No, the church exists to fulfill Jesus' mission, which is to seek and to save those who are lost, to help people who are far away from God. So I want to ask us a question. Do we have any unspoken religious rules or expectations that keep others from knowing the goodness of God, especially the goodness of the gospel? Do we put a religious face that disguises those dark things within us, things like prejudice, things like our selfishness, our judgmentalism, or our ignorance? So in the season of Lent, I want to encourage us to take time to allow God to search our hearts and reveal these dark places. Instead of making Jesus mad, let's let our repentance from these dark things make Jesus glad. Have a great day, and let's live into God's goodness.